Hi, I'm Mark Coppola, actor and disc jockey for Q1043. And when I'm in Westfield, I'm watching Westfield television. Of course. Nothing else to watch, man.
Hi, I'm Aaron Eisenberg, and welcome to the second annual Westfilm Film Festival in Westfield. We're going to have a great night for you tonight, displaying many independent films made by residents of Westfield. Not only will you get to see the films, but I will take you behind the scenes with exclusive and important interviews with the crew and possibly cast of the films. And right now, I have the great pleasure to be honored with the presence of co-creator of Westfilm, Mr. Bill McMeekan. Bill, how are you this evening?
I'm very well, Aaron.
Now, this is the first of the 3 nights of the Westfield Film Fest, am I correct?
Yes, you are.
How did this whole idea come about? I mean, it's getting a lot of hype around the high school, and we just saw that there was a crowd that was just let in. How did this all start?
Well, I guess it goes back over a year ago. Peter, myself, and another filmmaker, all from Westfield, were in a film festival in Hoboken. And we met at the director's cocktail party, and we realized we were all from Westfield, and we had all done 3 feature-length films. And I mentioned that it might be a good idea if we tried to show them at the Rialto. And I was half joking, because I figured we could never do this. It turns out that both Peter and Ken Waddell had shot parts of their film here at the Rialto, so they had a relationship with the Rialto, and it went from there.
Well, dreams can come true, indeed.
I sometimes have the feeling that I can never get to sleep, that the night stretches on endlessly until the sun rises and the same routine day starts all over again. Some nights I challenge the difference between my dreams and reality, whether the mundane world I trudge through is any more alive than that inside my head. Sometimes I like to pretend that the world I live in at night is the true reality. I come home from work and spend the rest of my night preparing myself so that when I get in bed I can fall asleep. It's busy nights like tonight when my thoughts are too intense to just relax. I often wonder whether I'd prefer to live in the world of my dreams.
Breaking news. A fire broke out an hour ago in the new Sortco building on Ruston Street. Officials say it was completely unexpected, considering the building passed fire inspection 4 days ago. It is believed to be started by a faulty wire in the 4th floor wall. So far, 3 people have perished, including 24-year-old firefighter Mike Tarnowski.
There are so many coincidences in the world. Dreams coming true, weird incidents, intuition, instinct, senses of others' feelings. It's when I lie in bed at night, staring at my ceiling as it plays the movie of my busy thoughts, that I can sort through these concepts. If I'm lucky, if my brain does me the pleasure, I might just fall asleep.
no news yet as to if there are any injuries or fatalities. Officials say the train derailed when a switch malfunctioned. One witness claims several of the cars flipped as they toppled to the side. This is the first derailment on the rail system in
It seems the more and more I become absorbed in my dreams, the more I put reality second and forget the troubles and stresses of our overworked society. The more I dream of reality, the more things become increasingly clearer. I've decided to stop determining what is real and what is my imagination. To me, it is all the same. For what we know is real is only what our memories and thoughts tell us is real. What we see is real is only what our eyes tell our brain is real. What we feel is real is only what our hands tell our brain is real. No matter what, our mind has the final say in what is an illusion and what is real.
Welcome back to Discover Now. We have with us famous physicist Dr. James Jordan.
Sometimes
Dr.
I find
Jordan, why
myself
don't you
dreaming
tell us
while
what
I'm
you've been
working,
busy researching?
wide awake.
Well, I've been conducting a study on extrasensory perception, or ESP as many of you know it. It's been a debated topic for years, and I'm interested in finding out my own research in order to come up with my own hypothesis on the theory. Well, Dana, we seem to think ESP is not a taste of the future, but rather a taste of the past. It could have been the human race's original way of communication, one far more complex or simple depending on how you look at it. With the evolution of the human body, our speech and
So much
listening
of my
abilities
time
could
and
have
energy is
formed,
spent on my
making
job.
the sixth sense
My 9 to
less
5 busy
useful
work
and more
only leaves me with the
inactive.
anticipation
Like our
of the
appendix
moment I
screen
lie
today,
down in bed
once
that
believed to
evening.
serve a purpose in human evolution, ESP could have as well. While the human mind has become increasingly more advanced with technology and education, we have moved further and further from our ESP capabilities.
These connections in our world never cease to blow my mind. They are the main inspiration I have to keep living. I find myself avoiding social interaction, for I often feel uncomfortable around other people, whether it's paranoia or a keen sense of what others are feeling. I never seem able to just relax. Never am I more tranquil than when I'm dreaming. Something about this dream was different. It wasn't a dream. I felt awake, yet somewhere completely different. Instead of being in a new place, seeing a different view, future or past, instead of that boredom with reality or that infatuation for dreams at night, I felt I was returning from some sort of a
coma.
It seems impossible to control the world inside our head. This would explain our ability to sense things, our ability to see things not in front of us, our instinct, our intuition.
Recent work in the field has led us to the discovery of tiny particles, smaller than atoms, which are in everything, everywhere, and act completely randomly. These particles, not visible by the human eye, could be energy itself. Often called neutrinos, they can travel through anything at the speed of light. These particles could carry the kind of information experienced in ESP, our brain acting as a kind of transformer for psychic to physical information and vice versa. This could be a part of the brain we do not yet understand, especially since we do not fully understand these particles of our brain.
With me now, the director and creator, I guess, of the AIDS Quilt Project, I have Edicio Martinez.
Yes, that's correct.
Edicio, how do you think it went over today?
I think it went really great.
all the films were magnificent. They were just astonishing. They were awesome.
Where did you, as seen, it's a very deep and emotional subject, the quilt for AIDS. Where did you get your inspiration?
Well, it all started off as an English project that I had for a class, and this wasn't caught onto my attention until English. And so I went to King College just when they were doing the AIDS quilts presentations, and I don't go anywhere without my camera. So brought my camera, figured out that this was a great opportunity for a little short, and just started filming away. And then I realized, how deep this was, and then got some some music, some score, and some really deep stuff, and that's what I did.
It was really a moving and emotional video, as were, I want to say 2 or 3 of the videos that we watched today. I have with me Kevin Johnson, the producer of, and would you say creator?
I suppose. I mean, I was heavily involved. I wrote it and I edited.
So the writer, editor, producer, just to name a few credentials of this man, of In Search of Buddy Girl. Kevin, I found it to be a humorous movie. It was very well accepted by the audience. They found it to be humorous. Is it really based on a true story?
It's not really even based on a true story. It was a true story. And it happened, and everything was true. I was actually related to my first girlfriend 1,000 years ago in the past. So.
Crazy things. Crazy things. And, I mean, how long did it take you to do this?
That movie, I think 2 weeks.
2 weeks?
That's Marty. She's the girl. We broke up about 2 weeks after this photo was taken. Nice part, right? As it turns out, we both discovered we were related a month later. True story. We both told this guy, history teacher Tom Hornish, that we were descended from this guy, Lord William Tracy, who killed this guy, St. Thomas à Becket. Even so, the breakup was pretty harsh. She dumped me on AOL Instant Messenger. The conversation went something like this. She's beyond MBT. The MBT stands for Marie Bayard Tracy. The Bayard is some distant family ancestor. You could say she's pretty into genealogy. That's me now. No, not on the Bima. I'm behind the camera. I'm a wedding and event videographer. But I'm also a college student, so you'd think I'd meet girls all the time, what with college half the week and weddings the other. But alas, I find myself alone again, just like when Marty left me on AIM 3 years ago.
Actually, the only times I've been dumped have been on AIM. So that was kind of upsetting, yeah. In high school, my boyfriend dumped me online because he thought it was easier to tell me he was dating my best friend that way.
Jackie's lament reminded me I was not alone. If AIM's powers could be used for evil, could they not then be used for good as well? I thought about my erudite colleague's question and offered a reply. Matt and I had worked out a pretty good plan, but I wanted a female's opinion. What do you think of my plan to start a relationship online?
I'd say try it if you want. If you're promising to have more than just an internet relationship, I think you'd be okay.
With Sasha's approval, I could start the search for my special someone, but I needed help. If ever I were to find love on AIM, I'd need to understand it a whole lot better.
Don't alternate cap with capital letter, non-capital letter. I can't be bothered with that. I don't have time for that.
It really annoys me sometimes people that will like IM you and say hi, and then you'll be like hi, and then they won't talk, and you'll be like, how are you? And they'll be like, fine. And you're like, what's new? And they're like, nothing. And you're like, well, why did you IM me then?
Too bad I'm not asking out Reap, because I don't think I've ever considered alternating caps and small letters. That's just mean. Unfortunately, Rebecca had described me exactly. What else don't I get about AIM?
My profile it starts off with contact information, cell phone address, room number, in case people need to get a hold of me. Then it has, sorry, I have to make sure my buddies can see that I'm still there.
It goes something like, I think I know, I don't think I know, I think that I don't think that I know, I think that I don't think that I know that I don't think that I think.
Then it has quotes that I like, inspirational quotes almost.
Sometimes I put quotes. I normally always have something about, I'm not from here, I'm from Colorado, and I normally have something about like missing Colorado or my heart is in Colorado.
So I took a look at my own profile. No quotes, no contact info. All I've got is a link to the Olsen twins legality countdown. It's only 604 days, 22 hours, and 30 minutes, actually. Unfortunately for me, my AIM profile is lacking at best and downright creepy at worst.
I've gone days without it, but I've noticed that it's missing.
I'm just always online. Like, I have a one-way message up from wherever we are, but when we're at school, I just leave it on. Like, I'm probably have it on for like 10 days or something right now. Like, it stops telling you how long you've been online.
I even went way out of my way to take it off my computer.
Really?
Yeah.
What bothered you so much about it?
Because they put it on there without asking me.
Thank God I'm not trying to seduce a 40-year-old high school teacher who's been repairing the same Commodore Amiga since I've been in high school. But chances are, my special girl's online. Maybe even right now. Lucky for me, Matt is always on the lookout. I decided to give his site a try. I coughed up my $10 and met some nice girls online. There was Christy with a Y, who Matt lovingly dubbed the Egghead. I talked to her off and on. She seems cool, but she's seeing someone and is therefore unavailable. By the way, she thought my profile was creepy. There was also Jen with 2 N's from Florida. I talked to her a little. She even sent me some photos, but Florida's a long way away, even if there is a connection. There were also Chrissy and Christy. I said hi to them, but all bets were off once they got a look at this. I lifted it off a family portrait, for God's sake.
Olivia, who says she's 16 and beautiful, is probably a 45-year-old man drooling in the corner of some dark room somewhere.
Mr. Davis was right. Online rendezvous are dubious creatures. My quest would have to at least begin offline. Lucky for me, Matt was throwing himself a birthday party, and I was determined to meet the girl of my dreams. Unfortunately, Matt and I were too busy shooting to invite any guests.
I would ask her out, almost be like, oh, what are you doing tonight? You're not busy, that kind of thing. Like, and make it seem like, it could be, you could be friends, you could be not, it could go either way.
That seems logical. Casual conversation is the point of AIM. Determined not to die alone, I started talking to a girl I met in class. It started innocently enough, and for a while I thought I had a chance, but... It seems even casual acquaintances are reluctant to commit online. Cloaked behind a computer screen, 20 years' worth of awkwardness still crippled my every move. It seemed as if I was failing left and right. Why couldn't AIM deliver my soulmate?
Face-to-face, that's what you value?
Face-to-face, a little mano-a-mano time there,
Okay.
The computer doesn't quite convey everything you'd like to.
Traditional he may be, but Reap had it.
AOL is the McDonald's of online existence. I'm not interested.
I'm headed home this weekend. I have 3 weddings. And plans, too. No, not a date, but I do get to see that Adam Sandler movie with my friend Carla. She goes to NYU, and we made plans online after I struck out. Again. When you're alone 250 miles from home, it's nice to have a buddy list. AIM is just a device. It can't bring me love any more than a telephone or a walkie-talkie for that matter. It's not much comfort to admit I'm inept, but I can't blame that on software.
And with me now are from the Battle Against FOP Whitney Weldon story, filmmaker Sean Devaney and Hillary Weldon, mother of Whitney Weldon. Sean, first of all, how do you think it went over?
I think it went over well. Myself, I've seen it quite a few times, but no, I'm very happy with the way it came out and very happy with the reception that it's gotten.
I'm sure everybody thought it was quite moving, and at the same time, it was very informative. Miss Weldon, this isn't the first time you've seen this video, I assume, is it?
It's the third time, and tonight was my husband's first time seeing it. So every time I've seen it, I've cried through the whole thing, and Bill was very emotional, and he wanted Sean to know that it was just wonderful. And it was nice having you a part of our family for those months you were with us.
Well, I want to thank you guys very much, because without you, it definitely wouldn't have been possible. So.
And Sean's just raised so much awareness on Whitney's condition, so thank you.
I'm sure.
Whitney was born April 5th, 1992, and it seemed like a normal pregnancy.
Whitney Weldon is a delightful young lady, a pre-teenager, who's just like any other child of that age who wants to do what every other kid wants to do, and who happens to have this miserable coincidence of having FOP.
Whitney is very much the type of child who wants to be part of the gang. I mean, there is no way she is not going to try to participate in what all her other girlfriends are participating in.
Hillary and I both strive to treat her just like any other kids, and even her friends, you know, try to treat her just as if nothing was wrong with her.
She does not like any extra attention on her, but that she has been always like that.
Turn it on. 1, 2, 3. Happy birthday, Whitney!
And I think most FOP kids, you know, they're living with their ailment, and they don't want to be treated special, and they don't want people probably reminding them that they have FOP. So in many respects, I think Whitney and other children just rather be kids and forget about all the other stuff that goes around it.
And then, you know, we came home, healthy baby, big baby. She was over 9 pounds. And she had these wacky looking toes. I was thinking, oh, why couldn't Whitney have my feet? You know, that's the one thing. I was like, why couldn't she have my feet? Because she had these weird looking toes.
So these children have a malformed toe. It doesn't cause them a problem, but you can see it at birth. It looks like a bunion, but it's truly a malformation of the toe. Other than that, they look perfectly fine, but it's a harbinger of what's going to come.
My stepfather, who's an orthopedist, for years kept saying to us, you really should have her toes checked out. I think they're bunions, so as she gets older, she's going to have trouble putting her feet in those high heels.
And then sometime, usually between the ages of 2 and 5, although there's a wide spectrum, the children often develop painful lumps, often suddenly, overnight, sometime following a bang or a bruise or a bump, but sometimes with very little provocation at all. They develop these lumps and bumps that look like tumors. They can grow to absolutely enormous sizes, like the size of an orange or even a grapefruit overnight.
We usually go a week of winter vacation and a week of summer vacation back to back. And the day before we left the trip, Whitney was complaining that her neck hurt her. And that was Friday. We were leaving Saturday. I called the pediatrician because I was worried, and because Whitney said that she was playing basketball, and when she put her head back to throw the ball up, she heard a snap in her neck. And as the first week progressed along, Whitney was still complaining of neck pain. And slowly, every day, a lump started forming in her neck. And I was getting really worried. I got a little bit of a sick feeling.
Over time, these painful lumps that look like tumors seize the skeletal muscles of the body. It basically attacks the skeletal muscles, this process, and over the course of several weeks transforms these muscles into bone. Eventually, these pieces of bone span the joints and lock them in place and make movement impossible. And these ribbons and sheets of bone, ribbons and sheets and actually plates of bone, replace the body's skeletal muscles and completely immobilize all the joints of the body, all the joints of the spine, all of the joints of the arms and limbs, even the jaw. Even minor things like preschool immunization into a muscle can cause the muscle to form bone and can cause the joint to lock. But actually, one of my teachers in medical school, who just began to get interested in FOP, really never taught us very much about it, but he really changed the name to fibrodysplasia ossificans progressiva. And what that really means is that fibrous connective tissue of the body, like ligaments and tendons, muscles, slowly turn into bone. But FOP is one of the rarest diseases known to mankind. It affects about 1 in 2 million individuals worldwide. There seems to be no ethnic or racial or geographic predilection to the condition. FOP in itself is not a fatal disease. The actual process of bone formation is not fatal. It's the complications that can be catastrophic and fatal. Usually, people with FOP live well into adulthood, and they eventually can succumb to problems that involve the chest wall. These ribbons and plates and sheets of bone girdle the chest wall and basically constrain it. So as if you were to tie the rope around the chest and try to take a deep breath, it would be difficult. More than 85% of the children I've seen now close to 400 patients from around the world with FOP. More than 85% of patients who have FOP originally had a misdiagnosis. In other words, they were originally diagnosed with something else prior to the correct diagnosis being made. And you could say, well, what difference would that make? Eventually the right diagnosis is made. The problem is that in the process of going through these misdiagnoses and often treatments for the wrong reason, the children are harmed. Very recently, a child passed away who had a biopsy at a young age. The biopsy was done because they thought the child had something else, had cancer. And the actual act of doing the biopsy, of removing the lump on the child's back, led to catastrophic bone formation in a certain region that locked the spine in place, so that as the other side of the spine continued to grow, it caused a deformity that crowded out the child's heart and lungs and basically suffocated the child.
It was Hillary who, after getting back from spring break, started to see other doctors, and finally we had a good friend of ours who's an orthopedic come see her up in Overlook. And at that time they told us that it was something very unusual and they weren't sure what it was, and they referred us to Dr. Kaplan at the University of Pennsylvania.
Lucky for all of us, the foremost scientist in the world, and the only scientist in the world who is doing research on this, is right here at the University of Pennsylvania. Within probably 72 hours, Dr. Kaplan called our house. And I was on the phone with him for 2 hours. He asked everything, absolutely everything. Did you notice when she fell what kind of bumps she had? And then I remembered, boy, I was back and forth at that pediatrician's office all the time, because when Whitney got a knock on her head, it wasn't just a little bump, it was a Fred Flintstone bump. So I was always back and forth with these large bumps in her head. So when this talking to Dr. Kaplan, it was exhausting. And then I have this other friend who's a scientist with Merck who lives around the corner from here, and she said to me, whatever you do, don't go on the internet. Well, that's all you have to say to me. Don't go on the internet. So all night I'm just like, okay, I'm not going to go on the internet. But Dr. Kaplan said, listen, why don't you bring Whitney down tomorrow?
And she had been playing basketball, I believe, and had hurt her neck. And what it was she had previously had formed a little piece of bone there that when she extended her neck, had cracked a little piece of bone, pre-existing bone that she wasn't aware that was there because it was in the muscle and it had not been causing her any limitation. It wasn't connecting two pieces of bone.
So our appointment with Dr. Kaplan was probably around noon the next day, and didn't go on the internet. I promised I wouldn't. And then around 9:30 the next morning, I decided I have to go on the internet. I can't stand it anymore. And I was alone in the house. Whitney, we let go to school for a couple hours, and Bill was at work, and I went online to look at it, and oh my God, I read about the toes. Oh, and I just knew it. There was no doubt in my mind that she had it.
It's some of the families know when they come, but sometimes I'm the one who has to tell them. And even if they've heard it from somebody else, they hope that maybe it's not the case. I realize every time that I have to do this, it's a terrible day. And I realize that for the families, it's the worst day of their lives. I don't do it without a great deal of thought, without a great deal of attention to every word that I choose. And I often clear my schedule so that there's nothing else that I'm going to do for that day. It's an emotional bomb.
So it seemed like, it just didn't seem real. So he didn't really say at the end of the appointment that she had it or not had it, because she was in the room. So he's looking at the x-rays, and he's like kind of beating around the bush, and I tried to say it without Whitney understanding. I said, so what are you trying to say? Are you trying to say that she has this thing and it's positive, or she doesn't? Because it was kind of hard to tell. And he said, oh yes, she has it. Oh, it was awful. I just couldn't believe it. It took me about, 3 months to even say that stupid word. I'd go to bed at night saying FOP, FOP. I can't even say the darn word. Fibrodysplasia ossificans progressiva. It took me 3 months to learn how to say that word. I thought, God, how could 3 letters be such a long word? Oh, it was awful. I kept saying to Bill, okay, when am I going to wake up? I just really had a hard time. Bill had a hard time too. But, us women are a lot more emotional than men are.
So we found out immediately when we got there. It was a long train ride home.
I don't cry every day like I did. I think I cried every day for a year, every day. And then it just was such a change of life, because it wasn't like you could just give her a pill to make her better. We couldn't do anything for her. And then we thought, okay, we didn't know for 9 years. First symptoms came up in 9 years, so maybe something else won't happen for another 9 years. So we kind of like took a deep breath. Okay, so now something won't happen for another 9 years. And so we went through a week. I was just saying, okay, let's just breathe. You know, we had, but then all of a sudden, you know, all these things started happening to her body. It was just like something turned on, and all these bumps, and it was just like a nightmare. We just found out that she had this, and then all of a sudden it was like a trigger went off in her body and it wouldn't stop. It was these big, juicy, tumor-like things, and it was just unbelievable. It was just like you couldn't even breathe in between.
I'm here with Steve Frompling, the creator / animator / what would you say your voice is credited?
Voice artist?
Voice artist.
I did some Foley for it as well.
Oh, okay. Of I Don't Care How Good Reservoir Dogs was. And basically your film bashed Quentin Tarantino.
Uh-huh.
Why is there a grudge between you two?
It's actually a funny story. I met Quentin at Sundance in '97, which was just after Pulp Fiction came out, and we were all waiting to see if he could top that, which of course he didn't. Jackie Brown was commercially less successful. And you know, I said to him when I saw him across the room that movie was really good, the writing was great, but he put himself in it, and his acting is terrible. He's a fine writer and director, but his acting is just bad. And, you know, he gave me this look, and, you know, I thought he was going to take a swing at me. You know, I was alone. I didn't have anything in my hands. I was going to go for the eyes. But then he came at me from both sides somehow and just gave me a hug. And then I felt it before I heard it. He started sobbing, and he just went on for like 15 minutes about how he always wanted to act. But, you know, a little while, like a month or two after Jackie Brown came out, he was in Broadway. Someone gave him a part in a play, and they just tore into him as a horrible actor, which he is. So he confessed to me in a very open moment how he always wanted to act, but, you know, couldn't because he just has no talent, and he looks like he's repugnant. An actor should be good looking. So I took that, and as any good friend would, I made a movie about it and exploited his biggest fear and weakness, because it's funny to do that to people you're friends with.
Jesus Christ!
Who's the black private dick that's a sex machine?
Whoa, Daddy, stand back, man.
Damn right.
Steve Buscemi, behold, it is I, your Lord and Creator, the one true God.
God.
The one true God.
So, how are you?
Omniscient.
Sorry.
Don't worry about it. At least you're not a Scientologist. Before you ask, I'm going to get a few of the more common questions out of the way. There is no meaning of life. Humanity was a goof. I was drunk off my ass when I created the platypus. And yes, that was the themed shaft I made my entrance to, which is perfectly acceptable and decidedly in character, as I myself am intangible, and thus know no racial classification. I appear to each as he chooses to see me. And based on my current incarnation, it's safe to say you hold Sean Connery in rather high regard.
I'm not,
No need to be embarrassed, man. It's perfectly normal. Besides, I can see where you're coming from. I've seen octopus hair.
That's not correct.
Excuse me?
It wasn't Connery, it was Roger Moore.
No, it was Connery.
Look, I'm right, okay? I'm not gonna debate you. I'm not gonna sit here and debate.
Listen, Buscemi. One of us is God here, and it isn't you.
I guess you think you're, like an authority figure?
In creating all existence, I created Connery as well. On top of that, I'm omniscient. Collectively, I'd say that puts me in a position of authority on the man's cinematic works.
Ease up, Grumpy.
Who's going to make me?
You wanna try getting physical with me?
You don't want a piece of this, son. Don't forget, I am the supreme being. Who's the man now, dog?
God.
That's right. Now for the point of this visit. A foul darkness leeches its way across my earth, defiling all it touches, bastardizing what once was beautiful and pure, turning innocence into sin personified. Worst of all, I fear the task of cleansing this evil falls on you, my son. You must go forth, Steve Buscemi, and punch Quentin Tarantino in the stomach.
Yeah, sure, very funny.
I wish it were, but this, unlike Tarantino's acting, is no joke. For the sake of all humanity, Tarantino must be stopped.
I don't want to kill anybody.
No one's asking you to kill him. Just give him a shot in the gut to teach him a lesson. Keep him from ruining his own films by appearing in them.
This doesn't make any sense. Why don't you just ask him?
To what? Stop giving himself roles in his own movies? It'd be of no use. Tarantino has the biggest head in all of Hollywood. And I mean that literally as well as figuratively. You have to do this. He's ruined damn near every picture he's made with his relentless pseudo-intellectual banter. 1 minute you're watching a quality independent film and the next he walks on screen and it's bloody Seinfeld. Don't believe me? Allow me to demonstrate.
Okay, so there are two reasons. Alright, but we didn't go with that. Okay, now one is, to me, it always sounded more productive to me than me. Okay, so there was that. And then two, it seemed like 4 different movies at the time we were in the same scene. Okay, so I that thing. Alright, with who's doing it. Okay, it's like this really bad cliche. Alright, but that's not even the point. Because
surely you must see the urgency of what I ask. We need to stop that man before he sullies another piece of cinema.
I really wish I could, but I know the guy. I don't think I should.
So what? Just because you're friends with the man, you're going to let all of humanity continue to suffer? Come on, forget your friend. Be a good little sheep and do as your lord tells you.
No dice, man. Get out of here.
Tell you what, we can stop at Denny's on the way. My treat.
That sounds good to me. I would really like this responsibility.
Excellent.
We can stop, get pancakes, and then we'll
Give that right bastard a taste of brass-knuckle justice.
Yeah, whatever.
I feel obliged to mention there's a small chance you might go to jail for this.
Yeah, whatever.
Now here's a boy who likes his pancakes.
me tell you about a Fraggle I knew. He was sitting on a...
We regretfully interrupt Jim Henson's Fraggle Rock to bring you a breaking news bulletin. This just in, independent filmmaker Quentin Tarantino was brutally attacked in his home this evening. The assailants are as of yet unknown, as the attack came while Tarantino was sleeping alone in his race car-shaped bed. As of news time, the principal lead lies in Tarantino's having heard someone chanting "You're the man now, dog" during the attack, which has authorities suspecting some sort of a half-man, half-dog creature, not dissimilar to the character portrayed by Michael J. Fox in the 1985 film Teen Wolf. Mr. J. Fox has been brought in for questioning. Meanwhile, maple syrup found in the victim's wounds leads this reporter to suspect the Canadians, a violent people in nature they've never been known to take kindly to irritating rambling, as shown through their numerous assassination attempts on the life of funny man Jerry Seinfeld. In what police have dubbed an entirely unrelated story, veteran actors Sean Connery and Steve Buscemi were recently spotted in a local Denny's, discussing theology and how fulfilling it is to beat the hell out of a 39-year-old man who still sleeps in a bed shaped like a race car. And now back to Fraggle Rock, a happier, almost utopian world where people like Quentin Tarantino and the Canadians don't exist.
I think it's time to blow this scene. Get everybody in the stuff together. Okay, 3, 2, 1, let's jam.
Oh wait, he's asking us questions. Why did you guys come out to Westfilm today?
Our film is the feature.
Okay.
And we also came out to see other short films.
Yeah.
I came out here to watch myself. If you guys want to support other filmmakers, that's great. I'm an egomaniac, and I just want to do nothing but watch myself. Like at home, I put mirrors everywhere in my house and bedroom, so I can watch myself constantly.
He actually has posters of himself.
Yeah.
Ooh, I got a new one coming, by the way. It's one of me as a gladiator.
He's provided mirrors for all of our bedrooms too.
Yeah, but
when he comes over.
How did the process of making this movie go?
It was interesting. It's all improvised dialogue. There was no script. We had like a 5-page backbone that we didn't really even stick that well to.
It was crazy, kind of like waking up early, shooting like crazy, and then in a week. It's weird waking up every day knowing that you're about to be famous.
As you can tell, I mean, like, I wasn't as cocky about it as Rio was. It wasn't until it made it into the Westfilm Film Festival that I knew we were going to be famous.
Yeah.
We've arrived.
We have, finally.
Congratulations, guys.
I love you guys.
I love you.
You can't sell the same thing to the same old crowd forever. I can't blame them. They want new material. Our stuff's been repeated too many times. We can't sell the same thing to the same old crowd forever.
Still rolling, still rolling. Nobody.
Oh my God!
Our stuff's been repeated too many times. More and more selling must be done. We interrupt this program. Your television set on at all times.
Look at that. The tomato sauce, you know? It's unbelievable this.
It looks great. Looks really great. Hello, I'm Aldo Woodland. I'm the director of the show. And I'm Keith. I've worked with Keith on all 5 seasons, and prior to that, we did a little project called Lauderdale! which won a little bit of recognition in the Vermont area. I remember in the Army a couple of characters who really set me off. One was a homosexual gentleman, and the other was a black gentleman. And this was what became known as the model.
Which do you find to be a more powerful tool? Your rage or your hate?
You wonder why these people are angry. I wonder it a lot.
February is the shortest month.
Yeah.
Black History Month, 29 days.
Thanks a lot.
Could have been 31. Thanks.
It's 28 days. It's a powder keg.
I don't want to be on the other side of the barrel of that gun.
No.
When it does.
Or the powder keg. It's like,
or when that powder keg blows.
if it's going to blow, which it will. And, with Chuck, we were like, wow, let's help somebody.
We're in San Diego. My name is Travis Williams, and I am coming to you live via sunny, beautiful beach weather.
Be gay. Be as gay as you can be if you are gay.
Be as queer as the day is long.
Right. Gay it up if you need to.
If that's what you are.
Be gay.
Did you ever change horses midstream?
I tried it once, but it just wasn't really my thing.
At the time. Don, if you were stranded on a desert island, what historical figure would you like to be stranded with?
Wow. Could I use Bono?
No. Hey, Julia.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm good.
You must get teased constantly about that name.
Julia?
Julia.
So I think I would be a great candidate for the house. I mean, like any people, all sorts of people. I know lots of different kinds of people.
It is irresistible. She's irresistible. It's like to have someone that... bereft isn't the word I'm looking for.
Sanctimonious.
That's not the one either.
And my mother smacked me on my hand, and I cried, but it was a deep cry, like it was something I would understand for the rest of my life,
Julia's in that state of beauty. How long can that horror be staved off?
I'd say about 20 minutes.
Do you intend to vote?
This year, or?
Let's say this year.
Yeah.
Great. Will you tell us who you'd vote for?
Sure.
Who would that be?
Who's, running this year?
Great. Okay, thank you.
Todd walked in, and we had a little scenario set up to see who our yes man might be.
If you could remove one group of people from the face of the earth, be it an ethnic group or any other kind of group, who would that be?
Skateboarders.
Skateboarders?
Yeah.
Interesting. You think you could wear some skate gear and sort of maybe pick up skateboarding?
Yeah, sure.
If those strings hadn't been pulled by people greater than the Self, then we wouldn't know names like Van Gogh, Johnson and Johnson,
Bruce Willis,
and the Benedict Arnolds.
Thank you.
The good with the bad.
Right.
I can't play it. So, this is my audition tape.
Yeah.
Why I would be good on the show, and why I want to be on the show, and blah, blah, blah. A little bit about me and everything.
Yeah.
It is possible to be too smart for your own good.
Yeah.
What's your favorite word?
Intellect.
What if you had to compromise one of your ethical beliefs for this show?
Would I be agreeable to that? Or which one would I compromise?
Correct. Is it first that you got a smart guy, smart Alec, and then he gets attitude from society or gets attitude from people? Or did he get attitude from people and then decide, hey, I'm gonna become smarter than you. I'm gonna accrue more knowledge than you.
Right.
Where is the blur on that line?
I don't know.
Who does? But it exists.
It does exist. And it's going to draw fire. Did you say that? You said that?
Mm-hmm.
It's going to draw fire.
I've always said that. You're going to make a lot of enemies. Yeah, someone's going to want to nail you to a piece of wood.
Right. But you end up being everybody's favorite that way.
Of course.
You save people by being that jerk.
Does everyone want to be that jerk? Yes. Do they have the stones to do it?
Yes.
No. Lastly, if you had to lose one parent, who would you lose? Your mother or your father?
Well, I didn't put this in any of that stuff, but I've actually lost both of my parents.
No, we're just talking hypothetically.
But I've already lost them.
Yeah. Which one would you lose a second time? Were you instrumental in his death in any way?
Tonight was a big hit. We saw 5 films, had a comedy troupe, and then had a feature film by Peter Paul Basler. We laughed, as in Steve's film. We cried, Sean's film. But overall, we were entertained, and that's the beauty of independent filmmaking. For now, I'm Aaron Eisenberg. Hope to see you on Wednesday. Yummy. Hi, I'm Aaron Eisenberg, and I would like to welcome you to the second night of the second annual Westfilm Film Festival in great Westfield, New Jersey. Tonight we will be seeing 6 shorts done by Westfield residents, as well as a feature film, Bel Air, starring Mr. Mark Coppola. I'd like to invite you to sit down, relax, grab some popcorn, and enjoy the show. Right now, I am with the creator, director, and pretty much everything of Cold Guilt, Nick Pavano.
Yes.
Nick, how did you come up with the idea of this movie?
I definitely wanted to have a movie in the film festival, and Peter told me I had 1 month to get a film done. So I did this whole movie in 21 days. I just came up with the idea one day in the shower. That's where I get my inspiration, and it came together. The script was done in 3 days, and that's how we did it. You know, a very short, easy production.
Wow, and where did you film? You said you lived in Union.
Right, yeah, we got up at 11 a.m. We rigged the police tape, set up the body bags, and that's pretty much it. We were done.
Oh, wow.
1X10. Plate on this suspicious vehicle in this driveway, 2451. 744, Frank William, it's out of Kentucky. Command 1's on Delaware. Hey, 1X10, we're all set here. 1X3, check 2, I'm not there yet.
So you want another unit there?
Because somebody would have slimmed him to get inside the vehicle so we can get the
871 in Medic 6, you're seeing a 74-year-old male, shortness of breath down to 2-word sentences. History of 871 in Medic 6.
Command, 8822, command 115, unit 7A85, code 6, 58 in Ontario, 58 in Ontario, 7.
What do we got?
Double homicide. Our Jane's got a...
Hold on. Here, girls, get back to your house, please. Alright, what do we got?
Double homicide. Our Jane's got a stab wound to the upper abdomen, and our Johnny has countless stab wounds to the chest.
Link to the cold killer?
We think so. The gashes seem to be created by the same knife.
Any witnesses this time?
Yeah, actually.
Really?
Yeah, Adam McDowell. He says he was on his way home from work when he heard the screaming. That's a one weird guy.
Sir, I'm gonna have to Action News. Action News. 9-1. Stay behind line. So where can we reach this guy?
Here, this is his home address.
Alright, great. DOA's related?
Yeah, they were brother and sister.
Really? Huh. Alright, clean up here. We're gonna go check this out.
Alright. Oh, you guys might want to be careful. He gave us a lot of trouble. Guy was a schizo.
Alright, thanks.
No problem.
Mr. McDowell, NYPD, I'd like to ask you a few questions. Go. Alright, on 3. 1, 2. Mr. McDowell, we know you're in here.
We'd just like to ask you a few questions.
Get out. Mr. McDowell, just to ask you a few questions.
I said, get out!
Mr. McDowell, put the gun down. We can do this without any harm.
I'm afraid that's not an option.
Down, Mr. McDowell.
What do you want?
You were a witness to a murder, Mr. McDowell.
I don't know anything.
We need to ask you some questions. Now listen, I want you to put the gun down, nice and slow. Nobody gets hurt.
I don't think so.
Alright, back up. I got this. Alright, listen, put your gun down. Nice and slow. Nobody gets hurt.
Jimmy.
What?
Why was he called the Cold Killer?
Now's not the time, Tony, alright?
Answer my question.
He wore gloves, a scarf, and killed tonight. Are you happy?
Yes.
What the hell are you doing?
Obviously a little new, aren't you? We got a lot of work to do. You're right. We do have a lot of work to do. There's a problem. What? I work alone.
Brazil and Germany coming out. For the first time ever, they meet in the World Cup, and what a fitting arena for them so to do. The stadium in Yokohama, which holds 72,000 people. We've got VIPs from both countries. We've got the Emperor from Akihito and his wife here from Japan. We've got the Japanese Prime Minister, Mr. Koizumi. We've got the Korean President. We've got the German Chancellor. And we've got some of the most famous players in the world. We're about to start the World Cup final of 2002, the first one of the new century. And it's Brazil straight away from the kickoff, pressing forward. Rivaldo! Oh, it's come off guard! Ronaldo! Brazil are in front! It's Ronaldo! Ronaldo! It's 2-0! And Brazil win the World Cup for the 5th time.
Samba. Samba de Janeiro.
Whenever you're ready, go ahead.
Okay, let's go. Hi, my name is Stephen Burrows. Cool. Is that good?
That was perfect.
You may be asking yourself, what's Aaron Eisenberg doing interviewing someone that works at the Rialto Theater? Well, I'll tell you. This is just not anybody that works at the Rialto Theater. This is the one and only Tim Colnut, whose film Carrots McGee will be playing on Wednesday of this week. Tim, how are you tonight?
I'm doing pretty good.
And tonight, what are you doing? You're just laying low?
I'm laying low, working behind the counter, behind the scenes, so to speak.
And what's that like?
That's it.
Yes, it is. Tim, Carrots, background on this story.
Well, pretty much it's just an Irish carrot. Lives in a world where vegetables aren't really treated the same as fruits, and he knows the only way to become a true being and be happy is to become a fruit, so he ventures on a journey and tries to become a fruit.
Now, the irony of this, however, is that the real Irish vegetable would be a potato, yet this is a story about a carrot.
Well, it's actually a background story of Brick Himmons, the co-creator. Or actually, he's pretty much, well, ever since he dyed his hair orange, he's been called Carrots McGee. And so we decided to make a film about it and called the main character Carrots McGee, and he's a carrot because his name is Carrots McGee.
So there is some substance to this story, which is great. Well, best of luck to you on Wednesday, and right now have fun, and I'll take an Oreo.
You're gonna take an Oreo?
Yeah.
I'm so bored.
Hey, Carrots. What's wrong?
Nothing.
Are you sure?
Perry, when you look at me, what do you see that's different?
Did you get a haircut?
No. I mean, what's the difference between you and I?
Well, I'm yellow and you're orange. That's one. Ooh, I have a peel.
Perry, don't be thinking so specifically. I be more broad. You are?
Tall?
No, Perry.
A fruit? Okay.
Never mind.
Hey, are you late for work?
I'm not going.
Why?
I quit.
What? Why's that?
They hated me there. They seem to have a big problem with vegetables.
You know how discrimination is around here. I mean, like, not more than a week ago, that little Mexican piglet got ambushed by that grape cult.
Sometimes I just wish I could be a fruit, you know?
So why don't you?
What?
Well, why don't you just become a fruit? I mean, the only real difference is seeds, right?
You're right. How could I get seeds? There's got to be an easy way to be getting seeds.
You could always pick up a drifter.
A drifter? No. Easier than that. I don't want to be killing anyone, you know?
Well, then what are you going to do?
I'm hungry. Where's all the good food? Hey, this just sucks. I'd rather eat poop.
Did somebody say Pyrodos?
No.
Well, I got Pyrodos right here. Come on.
Whoa! Hey, whoa!
Pyrodos, the greatest tasting cereal in a bag.
It's in a box.
Yeah. New Pyrodos is the greatest tasting cereal for everybody in the family. You know why?
Why?
Yeah.
What are you doing? Pyrodos.
So kids, how do you like it?
We need milk.
Haha. Here at Pyrodos, we like to conserve everything, including milk. That's why we use water. It's free and it's better for you. Just try a little bit of that. In a worldwide survey, Pyrodos came out #1 for children and adults around the world.
What does that mean?
Well, why don't you keep this share?
This isn't so bad.
Hey, how'd you kids get those spoons?
I don't know. It's just starting to be really gross.
Brand new Pyrodos, part of this balanced breakfast.
Who are you?
So, what exactly are you looking for?
Well, I was kind of looking for seeds. You wouldn't happen to have any, would you?
What do you want seeds for?
I want to become a fruit.
Why?
Because
Okay, whatever you say. So, exactly what kind of seeds are you looking for?
I don't know.
Well, I got pear seeds, I got the... Anything you left on I-97. And,
Do you have apple seeds?
You're sick. Anyone ever tell you that?
Oh, yeah. You're an apple. Yeah, right, sorry. What do you think would work well with me?
Well, you're a carrot. Are you sure getting interested in a nice bootleg movie? You ever seen Trainspotting?
What?
I got a bootleg right here, and I don't think I've ever even seen it.
Well, I haven't seen it either, but I'd imagine it's about trains. And spotting them. So can you help me?
Oh, yeah, sorry. Well, first you gotta decide how you want to take them.
Take them?
Yeah, take them. You want seeds small enough to pop like pills, or you want a larger size for suppository to take?
Small seeds would be fine.
Alright. How about orange seeds?
Orange seeds?
Yeah, I figure. You're orange, and orange is orange, orange for orange. You're both the same color.
Oh, sure. How much will these seeds be costing me?
That'll be about $40.
$40? That's fine with me. I've got a $500 limit in my pocket. And $40 isn't too damaging.
You got $500?
Mm-hmm.
Did I say $40 for the seeds? I meant 500.
Well, I'm not giving you homie money. How about I give you the $40 and leave it at that?
Fine.
You're not much of a haggler, are you? Come in. Didn't you guys hear? I'm a fruit now. You got no reason to be hassling me.
Here we have Eileen O'Donnell, who made the 50-minute short film, Westfield Remembers. Eileen, how do you think it was received by the masses?
I think things overall went really well tonight, and it's really nice to see this film get out. It took a lot of time and a lot of work, but hopefully it's nice to have a recorded history of what took place that year.
Did you plan on doing a film about Westfield ever since September 11, 2001?
To tell you the truth, I hadn't really thought about it before that, but some people had started telling me about doing something to talk about building at the park about a year later. And when the ideas from that came, I just really felt if all these people can go down and volunteer their skills in terms of building the park downtown, that I have skills in this area where I don't in the construction side, and it was my way to take a part of Westfield's history.
So you wanted to contribute in the way you best could?
Yes, absolutely.
And you sought in doing so through film?
Yes, that's exactly it.
Do you have any other films?
No, this is my first film. I work in the film and television industry. I've done a lot of work producing films, but it's always been short situations, never my own personal stories.
Going back about what we were talking about before, the Westfield residents, it seemed like they really contributed a lot to the tragedy and making those who lost loved ones very comfortable. And I'm sure you saw more so firsthand everybody's reactions and everybody's politeness and stuff.
Absolutely, because after September 11th, once I finally got home that day from New York City, I worked downtown Manhattan, so I wasn't able to go back to work for about a week. And so I spent a lot of time up at the TV station in Westfield, putting up announcements, letting people know about events that were going on, blood drives, candlelight vigils, all of what was going on with the schools, that sort of thing. And the more I was there, I saw more people, talked to a lot of people, heard everybody else's story, and then it just, to me, seemed like, this was that Westfield story should be told.
reacted very quickly. Upon the news, literally as the event was taking place on September 11th, our police department, who was hearing some of the news and then had TVs on downstairs from my office, came up to see me right away, let me know what was happening.
Well, we were monitoring the television at the front desk, and as we all were, we were in shock. And initially we didn't know it was a terrorist attack. And we were monitoring the TV, knowing that probably some Westfield families had members in the building. We know a lot of our people work in New York City and commute to the city.
We all came down into the watch room to look at the television, and we watched as the flames were shooting out of the World Trade Center and the dense smoke. And we're watching this thing for I guess 20 minutes or 22 minutes, whatever it was, and we saw the other plane go in. We thought it was an accident, the first plane, just like I think everybody else in the whole world thought. But when the second plane went in, we realized something, it was more than just an accident. And we said that it was just astonishing to watch that. And I would say about 20 minutes later, we received a phone call that we were probably going to be mobilized and go in and support the fire department.
Well, we started receiving phone calls from some of the people to see if we could contact New York City to see if any of their family members were involved. And as the day went on, some people were contacted by their family members, and we were relieved. By the end of the day, 9 families were without contact with their family members that worked in the World Trade Center, and that's kind of how we started our involvement.
At 8:45, when the plane struck the building, I'm on the south side of the building on the 78th floor. The aircraft struck, we believe, somewhere around floor 96 on the north side. So as I was facing the window, the building swayed away from me, and we were very concerned that the building was going to tip over. I knew that it could take some swaying and some stress, but it seemed like we were experiencing a lot more tipping than one would normally expect.
So I remember our administrative assistant was just putting something on my desk, and we both look at each other like we thought the bomb, and
right.
We didn't know what to think. And then my boss, Joe Peloso, lives in Westfield as well, and I heard him shout from his office, "A plane hit the Trade Center, get out." And you just don't want to believe it. You just know. And so, I kind of looked at the windows, and all this stuff was coming down. And it was kind of surreal because the sky was so blue and sunny and pretty, and then it was like big chunks of glitter coming down.
Okay.
And it was almost mesmerizing, and you just kind of wanted to go to the window and look. But then instead, I headed for the stairways because the building shook a lot with that, and I didn't know if it was our building or the other. And
sure. Okay.
So anyway, I headed down.
We knew something had happened. We knew that it was abnormal. The building swayed a good 10 feet as far as our recollections, mine and some others that were in the building. So clearly something had happened, whether it was an explosion or something hit the building. We sort of speculated instantly that it could be either one. A colleague of mine, David Frank, looked out the window, saw fire above us, and I heard debris raining down, started to smell a little bit of smoke, and clearly we knew it was time to get out of town.
These 2 guys picked me up. They just stopped, and I think it's another thing about human nature being wonderful at times, because we thought we had seconds to run for our lives, and they picked me up, picked up my purse and handed it to me, and went on. So I hobbled on for another 10 blocks or so on what turned out to be a broken ankle.
Immediately, our town responded from our police chief to our fire chief to the rescue squad, the American Red Cross chapter of Westfield Mountainside here in Westfield, the town staff just in the building in my department calling over, wanting to see what we can do, what we should do. From my perspective as the administrator, just spoke to the police chief and fire chief. They gave me a radio to be in constant contact with them. We had 3 or 4 meetings that day, covering everything from basically who we knew was missing, and on top of that, what we could do as a town. Do we need to go into an emergency action plan and so on?
I contacted Mayor McDermott and thought it was appropriate that we visit each home and contact the family and tell them that we would assist them in any way possible. Any information that came through the police department, we obviously would be in contact with them, and any way that we could assist them, we would do so.
The rescue squad of Westfield went right into New York City with one of the rigs they had. Our fire department responded. They went to Brooklyn, I believe, to relieve the Brooklyn firefighters to go into the city. And our police department stayed back here, and as the days unfolded, our police department actually went into New York City hospitals and picked up people from Westfield that had been hurt and found in hospitals and brought them back. So an immediate response, constant contact, and I think some people say we went overboard, but I think we did actually what any town should have done.
The Westfield Rescue Squad participation in 9/11 for the entire mobilization, we were there every single day. The first day we sent 2 ambulances. If ambulances weren't needed, we sent members. On one day we were requested to go into New York to bring back a Westfield resident who had been injured. So a normal turnaround hour-and-a-half trip took over 4 hours. At the same time, we were asked to commit an ambulance from 3:30 p.m. until the following morning. We had a crew for that. And that night I received a call from CENTCOM asking if we could commit a still 3rd ambulance. And in a half hour's notice, I had 3 volunteers to go to the staging area in Jersey City. They didn't get back until the following afternoon. And that's how it went. We always had ambulances in Westfield, but because of our level of participation, we were constantly being asked to send crews and rigs into New York. At one point, we were the lead ambulance, and we were met by paramedics, and we became an MICU unit, a mobile intensive care unit. We were right there at Ground Zero.
The call came from the Union County Mutual Aid System. We got a call. The Union County Fire Chiefs operate a mutual aid system through the county, and we received a call from the county that we needed manpower and equipment to mobilize at King College to go into New York. We put in an immediate recall for all of the members of the department, and I brought them in, and in the meantime, the fellows that were working that day, they set up a fire truck, one of our fire trucks, that was going to go over to mutual aid. They made sure that it was loaded with all the proper equipment that we have here, and as soon as the men came in, we assigned X number of men to that equipment. So we sent over, I believe, the first wave of men that we sent over was Captain Dulks and 9 people.
The orders came very soon. I believe we had personnel over there by 11 o'clock. We were formed up, and we had our people with our engine responding to New York in a task force. They went through Staten Island, via Staten Island, ended up in Brooklyn. And the original people, the initial people were there until around 11 o'clock. The second relief came in via bus through Kane College also, which was our command post center for Union County Mutual Aid. And what we did there was we had 2 bus loads going over with personnel through Union County to relieve their personnel. However, our engines, our trucks, our rescue equipment, whatever we sent as far as equipment, it remained in New York. So now we relieved our people. We just happened to relieve our people in, I believe it was 241 or Engine Company 241. At that point, we had a lieutenant, New York City lieutenant assigned to our engine company. And he came over to me about an hour shortly after our arrival, and he said, "Cap," he says, "we have to move up." He says, so naturally I says, "We're here to do whatever." So it ended up we went into an engine company 207 and ladder 110. Unfortunately, this 207 engine company, they lost all their people that day. The engine, I believe the engine still was never recovered. If it is, it was destroyed. So we had mixed feelings as our crew was in this 207. We had a job to do, but it was an honor, and we did all we can. But it was a mixed feeling. If you can appreciate what I'm saying, I mean, here we are replacing people that aren't coming back. Now the ladder 110 that rode out with Engine Company 207, they lost one or two, but most of them came back. And the first thing we seen was their ladder company. It was just covered with debris and what have you. So you know, myself and the officers and the firefighters that were with me, you know, it was to look at this and see this. It was kind of a shock, you know. So anyway, we got together. We were signed, and now their people started coming back one by one, and we were right at the foot of the Manhattan Bridge, so anyone coming back in would stop at our house first. Well, to see the expressions and listen to these people and, you know, the firefighters, and we were there. Some would talk, some wouldn't. They were happy to see us there, but they realized we weren't the 207 that should be there.
On the way to our destination, crossing the Verrazano, I think was a very touching moment for everyone in the rig, because from the Verrazano we can actually see Ground Zero, or at that point in time basically where the trade centers used to stand, because at that point in time it was just fire, smoke, dense smoke, and it was a very somber and quiet moment in the rig, because all of us were just, you know, taken by the scene that we saw.
There was a fear, and then one minute it would be fear, the next minute it'd be anger. You know, you didn't know what to expect, and I mean, then you started hearing reports that a lot of firefighters had gotten hurt and killed, and that's when I guess the anger really started coming in.
I would say there was no panic. Everyone was kind of in a state of shock, in a spell. I remember responding one night, one of the calls, 2, 3 o'clock, and just riding through the streets, and you know, New Yorkers just looking. And first of all, they seen the different fire engine and AIM, and they realized, you know, that we didn't belong there, but we were there. And here again, it was just everyone was still, I think, in a daze at that time.
We were getting calls here in relation to New York City. We would get smoke calls, people smelling smoke or smoke in the area. Ended up being that the smoke cloud, the wind changed and blew the smoke into the town. People were calling thinking there's fires in their neighborhood, and we had to tell them that no, that's the smoke from the trade center.
Something else we did that day and a few days right after the events of September 11th, our local TV station, which is now housed in the town hall here, operated by a board and a director, Doug Black, we basically did some emergency messaging right away. So the residents in town, if they couldn't get through by phone or anything, they could go right on channel 36 and see what was happening, what we were doing as a town. In addition to that, we had immediate show similar to what we're doing right now at the Red Cross. We had the mayor, myself, police chief, fire chief, other town officials over there going through, announcing what was going on in our town, how we were doing things, who we can get in contact with. Again, doing as much as we can to get the message out to the residents that you know, we as a town are helping you in any way we can.
Basically, we would go to homes just to kind of like give them comfort, which was kind of difficult for me. I can only speak for myself, in my opinion, because when I first heard about it, I was actually in Bergen County in training, and the first thing that I thought about when I saw the smoke and everything was to get home to my family. So that was actually the first thing I did. I checked on my son at his school to make sure everything was okay there, and then I responded back to headquarters when I was assigned to Roosevelt School. So we pretty much had all the schools, I believe Roosevelt School, Edison Intermediate School, and the high school. We had officers there just to try to keep some peace, and if any type of help that we could assist them with, we were there to assist.
Yes, the following day, myself and Detective McCullough went over to New York City, and with all the chaos, it was fairly well organized, and they had lists of victims who had been taken to area hospitals, and they were in alphabetical order, and we went through the list hoping that we would find some of our missing. However, we weren't successful.
I think we responded to the crisis on September 11th very well. The chief brought myself and Detective Sandy Chambers in his office and basically gave us carte blanche to do whatever the families in Westfield needed. And it gave us a lot of leeway, and we made ourselves available to the families to do whatever they needed, and we tried to be there for them. What we try to do for the families is anything that they required. They had to go to New York on several occasions for different dropping paperwork off, filling paperwork out, reports, collection of evidence. And what we try to do is spare the families the trauma of having to go do that. Some families wanted to do it on their own. We provided transportation in and out of New York, which was a big help to the families, because back right after September 11th, if you recall, all the bridges and tunnels, the security was very tight. So when we would take them in a police car, we were able to bypass a lot of the traffic and get them in and out of the city and make a long day a little shorter for them.
Now we have the headliner of the second night of the second annual West Film Festival, Mark Coppola.
Oh, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. And your film, which is right here,
Yes.
is called Bel Air.
That's not my best shot, but that's a character for you, you know.
It's a film about a man named, I want to say, Kirsten Bealey.
You got it, man.
Kirsten Bealey, who is a pizza man who moonlights as a struggling actor at first. And
Kind of.
Would you say that? Or?
He was a child actor, a little younger than you. He was very famous, did 3 TV series, and as he got older, through adolescence, he couldn't get any work, and he kept struggling, and supported his acting career in the auditions through delivering pizzas for many, many years.
So basically, he's looking for a comeback.
Yes.
And I'm not going to give away, what exactly happens, but there's a chance happening, and basically his life gets flipped upside down. In the sense, he finds fame again, and there's a lot of excitement, but I'm not going to give it away.
Well, I will tell you this, though. He is a struggling pizza guy. He doesn't have much of a wardrobe and doesn't have a watch or anything. He looks kind of poor. And when he has this chance happening, he comes into somebody that's buying him a lot of clothes and stuff, and he finds that people are more receptive to him and start recognizing him. And it's almost as if when you put on the clothes and look successful and you dress for success, everybody likes you. But when you're struggling, nobody wants you because you're desperate. So it looks at that. It looks at that psychology of social life.
When you decided to do this film, what did you at first see in it that made you, so attracted to it?
Well, originally, one of the guys that we had another film we were going to do, and one of the writers said, I really want to take a stab at a modern day version of a Sunset Boulevard type of thing, and we have the ending different, where the guy doesn't die, other people do. So, and kind of like do like a Portrait of Dorian Gray type of thing. So he merged a couple of film noir type movies of that era and came up with this script.
This movie's also starring Barbara Bain.
Yeah, for Mission Impossible fame.
She's
the lead.
It seemed, from what I saw, that you two played very well off of each other. Did you know each other beforehand? Or?
No, I didn't know her. I knew her husband pretty well, Martin Landau. They're not married anymore, and so I know her daughters. So I knew her family, and I never met her. So we did spend some time together talking about the characters. And that was very easy work for me to work with her because she's such a talent.
You mentioned family just now, and I saw in the credits that your brother Christopher was the director of this movie.
Yes.
And you, in the Q&A just a few minutes ago, said that most people would think it would, you get at each other's throats,
Right. Well, you know how, do you have siblings?
Yes, I have a brother.
And you guys...
We do films together, and we do fight after a few hours.
Well, we used to fight a lot as kids. I'm a little older than him, and he was my boss basically. So you'd think 15 hours a day for 11 days straight, because that's what we did the film, and we fight, and there were no fights. Nothing else. We had fights just over a dinner sometimes, but never during the work. I thought that was amazing.
And I guess that leads to the movie being more and more successful, you know, the final product.
Yeah, I mean, I respect him as a director. You know, I don't have any aspirations towards that. I like producing a little bit, and I like acting. That's really all I like. So I can listen to him and take his suggestions.
Your brother Nicholas was also one of the executive producers of the movie.
Yeah, he helped us out. He put some cash in, and you know, he didn't really work on the set at all because he was doing other stuff. But he was supportive of that. We enjoyed that. You know, he's our kid brother. You know, but and he's been doing some directing himself these days, and he's you know, branching out. He's got a production company too.
Look at my fingernail. I got nervous disorders. Make Ricky do it. I'll give you back half my money. I don't even want it. Who's Mikey? He's an asshole of a boss. How do I feel about that? Desperate. I'm in too deep. Okay, more New York accent now. It wasn't me who went in this deal, Mikey. It was Ricky. Yo, I mean, look at me. Do I look like somebody who could kill somebody? God damn it!
Get somebody else, Rusty.
How'd you know it was me, man? Did you call your psychic friends or something?
Only you call at the worst times.
Look, I need a pirate run up to Bel Air, bro.
Send Gus?
I hate this! I hate your American chief! They always leave!
Listen, I gotta go upscale with this one, you know. I mean, these people say holding flies on their pizza. These are Beverly Hills people, man.
I can't do it, Rusty. I got an audition.
Look, I'm not asking you to hold shift, Jack. I just want you to drop the power on your way. You know what I'm saying? Come on, man. Don't you want some of that sweet Bel Air money? I know I do. Let me tell you. Look here, go on up there and lay some of that beaded charm on it.
What are you, my pimp now?
Oh, come on, get serious now. Let a black man build up his client base, bro.
Oh, man. You put it that way.
Well, listen, you're beautiful, cousin. You know you're a beautiful man. I love you, dude. You're cool. I'll see you in a minute, bro.
Don't get all gushy on me. Give me some of that Billy luck. Go get him, Billy.
Hollywood Boulevard. Street every tourist in America comes to eventually. Not that there's much here. A fleet of $15 hookers, some poster shops, and that where I'd bring my kids, if I had any. Every time I run a pizza through here, I think these people out here know me. They know the name Cursin Beely. Or at least they did. Some of them may have forgotten. Of course, I haven't. How can I? You don't ever forget being a star. Someone once said the world is your stage. I'll give that guy a medal because if you want to be an actor, the ground rule to remember is everyone is here for you. They can't be happy unless they have you to entertain them. Once you forget that, you might as well shoot yourself in the head.
It wasn't me who went into this deal, Mikey. It was Ricky. I mean, look at me. Do I look like a guy who could kill somebody? Huh? I'm a baby. I'm harmless.
You ordered a pizza.
My employer did, yes.
1347.
Not big on tips here, huh? That's okay. That's why you're rich and I'm poor.
I'm only a servant. I haven't got a lot of money.
Okay, well, can you open the gate, please?
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Have a good one.
Hey, Ken! Hey, yo! Can you give me 5 minutes? That's all I ask. Who's the director? I'll do my lines right here, right now. Look, do I look like the kind of guy that can kill somebody? I'm just a fake, Mikey. Yo! I don't want the money. I can't, look. Ballet. See? Hey! Hey!
We do have a deal, and I expected 9 o'clock.
I'm Kirsten Bealey, star of It Takes One to Know One. Make room for Malcolm, and what's your problem? Somebody give me a break here? Let's play guess the director. Are you the director? You're the director. No, you're the director. Come on, guys.
Thank you.
Great, Kirsten Bealey.
Thank you. Toodaloo.
This is so bad.
Look, Kirsten, everybody knows who you are, okay?
Embarrassing.
Maybe that's the problem. Maybe you should pretend you're somebody else. It's good.
Wait a minute. Guy, I'm sorry I'm late, but don't we have another round of auditions tomorrow?
You know, I really don't envy you guys, you child stars. You have a lot to live up to. Please.
Well, wait a second. Come on.
It's a game of humiliation. The trick is, you won't feel humiliated if they think you're having fun. All you gotta do is look like you're enjoying yourself, and you're better than them. But slip for a moment, just frown for a second, and they'll squash you. They can't help it. It's like a battle of inferiority complexes out there. And the guy who never stops smiling, he's the guy on top.
What a night. This marks the completion of the second annual Westfilm Film Festival in Westfield, New Jersey. I'll tell you, everybody had a fun time. 6 short films, 1 feature film. There was excitement. We had a Q&A session with the talented Mark Coppola. Everybody had a great time, and hopefully Westfield will see many more independent film festivals. Peter Basler and Bill McMeekan have done it again and brought to this town the magic and beauty of independent filmmaking. For now, I'm Aaron Eisenberg.
Oh
to take the day off, burning the sun and the breeze, and nothing to think of.